You're listening to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus, changing rock history, one podcast at a time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. Sitting with me on the right side with me tonight is Miss Lily V6 from Rock Rage Radio. Say hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Okay, we've got Lily V6 hanging out with us. And Keith the Hawk Hawkins. We've got the Hawkster from all the way down to New Orleans. What's going on, Hawkmeister? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going great, brother.
How's things?
Things are just grooving here at the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus.
Always.
Okay, and tonight's topic is Bruce Dickinson versus Rob Halford. Who rocks harder? Who's the greater metal god? We want to dissect it all. We want to talk about the stage presence. We want to talk about career. We want to talk about vocal capacity, range, whatever, styles, all that. And that is going to be all thrown into the mix, and we're going to be hitting that hard here in a minute. First of all, let's do a little business. You are listening to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. And you can go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com to get a lot more information there. We are keep checking often because I'm really excited. My good friend Carrie has been reworking our website a bit, so there's some cool stuff going on there. Some merchandise there. Make sure that you guys pick yourselves up a little bit of merchandise. That helps us out. And when you hear the podcast that you really love, please share them around. It gets the word out about what we're doing, helps us promote some indie bands as well, and just helps us keep great guitar-driven rock alive and well. And so here we are. Today is July the 18th, 2018.
Summer's just flying by.
Summer's just flying by. Rock and roll is alive and kicking hard, as you're going to hear tonight. We have a featured band we're going to play a little bit later on. We're going to play Reign of Z a little bit later, Pittsburgh's own Reign of Z. And the rest of the time, though, is going to be devoted to Rob and Bruce. So before we get into all that, Keith, you got anything new you want to talk about? Anything going on? You want to get off your chest before we get started?
My chest is fine. I'm good. I mean, we can talk all night about some two metal heavyweights, man.
All right, we're gonna get into it. All right, Lily, anything you want to get off your chest before we jump in and start talking about some Priest and some Maiden?
I would love to detach these and get this off of my chest. However, that's there forever. But I'm in a comic book. I just had to tell everybody because I'm excited about it.
What is this about? Tell us about it.
It's a project that a local comic, Dave Columbus, is working on. He's taking a bunch of cosplayers and creating one big book out of all of it, kind of like old school comic style. And it's pretty exciting, and he chose me as one of the people, and I got my comic done, and it's so exciting. And I'm kind of geeking out about it.
Cool beans. That's freaking awesome. So,
I've seen that. You are a comic book.
Lily is a comic book character.
Whatever. I'm all the things.
Not a comical character.
No.
Although sometimes.
Depends on my day, really.
Okay, so let's get into this right now. We are talking about the two heavyweights of metal. The kind of like the Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost of metal, right? Halford and Dickinson. I mean, they are it. I mean, maybe Ozzy. Maybe Ozzy's the great. Ozzy's like the God the Father. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about Dio's dead. So I'm talking about who's like out and active and doing stuff right now. So
Dio doesn't count.
So we'll get into Dio. We'll do another. We will do an Ozzy versus Dio show.
Yes.
That's another show.
That will be fun.
That will be a lot of fun. I think people will really enjoy it. Okay, so who wants to start? Who wants to jump in first? Lily, Keith, who wants to start? We're going to do a little bit of I think we should start with a little bit of comparing and contrasting in the beginning, and sort of kind of take it from there, see where that leads us. And we're going to talk about the audience's picks. A lot of people weighed in on this as well this week.
They did.
Yeah. So, Lily, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of sort of kind of what you're thinking about this subject here.
I'd like to start by saying this was just not fair to do this to me because I like them both very much for very different reasons. So this was hard for me to pick. When you hear my pick at the end, doesn't matter.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you talk about some of the reasons? Give us one of the reasons why you say you like them both for different reasons.
Yes.
So give us one of the reasons why you really love Rob Halford.
Because he has great style. I love all of his fashion. That's my last pick on that, but I love that he went from, they were starting to wear sort of like 60s style, but kind of got themselves outdated, and he just decided, I'm going to go full on leather and studs, and I'm sorry, I love it. So that's one of the reasons I like Rob. No, it doesn't have anything to do with his voice, but that's one of my reasons.
Well, that's okay, because it's the whole package. I
Yes.
mean, rock isn't just about the music, it's about the complete experience. So, the
I like
look and everything is
watching
definitely
him.
part of it. Yeah, definitely part of it. Keith,
Yo,
who do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Bruce or Rob, and then pick something about that you really love. Which one are you going to hit?
to me, it's just funny because I'm not going to I'll single out the details later, but if you look at the timelines of both these bands, both of these singers have actually left the band one time before. So these two guys are legendary singers, and they've actually been replaced by people that weren't, those guys. So they had to bring them back. I mean, those bands probably would have did anything at that point to bring them back, and that's no fault of Tim Rowans or Blaze Bailey or the guys that replaced the two we're mentioning. But it just goes to show you that they're two timeless metal vocalists that are irreplaceable, man. Without those two, those bands would be, because you figure even in Iron Maiden, Paul Eno was the original singer, and Dickinson took that band to another level. And so, my point is trying to pick one of these two is very difficult also. And I think that both these bands have had such success and should be on the Mount Rushmore of metal gods, but it's tough to pick. But
let's not. We'll reserve our picks for the end. But what can you give us something that you, when you hear? Since we're talking about Rob Halford, when you hear Rob Halford, give me something stand out about Halford that you just go like, yeah, that's like freaking awesome.
I mean, hey, when I hear Rob Halford sing and hit the highest note he can, that shit will shatter glass, man. He is that guy could sing not just a typical kind of we'll call it the old school metal style, but he can take it into the stratosphere and hit notes that few people can when he's on his game, So and then he comes out in the leather, he rides a motorcycle on the stage. That's pretty rock and roll. So
do you have it written? Did you win? Because he has a certain octave range that's insane. Did either one of you guys write that down or?
It was 4 point something.
Yeah,
or whatever. I couldn't remember what it was.
He has some crazy.
I did look it up though.
When I was speaking of his vocal range, what I think is so amazing on him is he can do that really high stuff, but then he can do stuff that's way more vocally manageable, You Got Another Thing Coming, which yes, he hits a couple of those screams in there, but basically it's just kind of regular singing, and he sounds really, really good in that lower register. He sounds completely fine. He doesn't sound like he's scraping the bottom of his range to do that. And when he's singing high, he sounds completely comfortable there. And I think that's what really sets him apart in my mind as a vocalist, is that ability to be able to kind of do all those different things.
AKA Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah.
Thanks, Uncle Jimmy. I saw that.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
So let's have a little bit of a. I have some stuff queued up here for you guys. So let's take a look. This is a video, a YouTube video from Wacko Zero. Wackooey Zero.
Yes.
And the vocal range of Rob Halford. Let's just take a little bit of a listen to some of this right here. Is it gonna work? Yeah. Let's refresh and hopefully there won't be some stupid ad. That's good. Well, here he is singing kind of in his lower range. Now here's a little bit of this is.
So echoey.
Guys, going up a bit there. Look at that. Okay, so there's a little bit of a smattering. There's a little bit of a smattering there of
A collage.
of the Halford man himself, and just what we were talking about is that range of way up to like more kind of like straight stuff. He can do all of that stuff. So vocal range aside, let's move on and let's get into a little bit of Bruce. So not Bruce Springsteen. That's Keith's favorite vocalist.
Every time, Keith. Every time.
So let's talk. So let's go ahead and talk about Lily. Tell us something about Bruce Dickinson you absolutely love and think is just really special.
I actually love his voice better than Rob's. I think it's more pleasing. Don't get me wrong. I love Rob. He's always kind of like doing the high things. I think he has a better range in doing high and low and like softer stuff and all of that. Like softer meaning like I guess more ballady, but that's what I prefer from Bruce.
What do you think? What's your standout thing about Bruce, Keith?
It's the way he can work a crowd. When you see Maiden live, that dude owns that freaking stage. I mean, he's all over the place. He's putting on crazy masks. He's got the crowd eating out of his hand. Whether it's playing in front of, unfortunately in the U.S., not doing as well as they probably were back in the day, but they can still go to South America, Europe, or somewhere, still play festivals in front of 100,000 people, and there's 100,000 people knowing every freaking. These people can't even speak English, but they're the worst of the Iron Maiden.
Exactly. Yeah. He's all about the eye contact.
Just that this band's been around for so long that it's just. He just knows how to work a crowd, and then when the show's over, he can get in a plane and fly to freaking plane to the next gig. So hey, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty badass to me. This guy is doing a lot.
That would be a good podcast. Rock stars who have cool second careers, like Steve Morse from Iron Maiden, or not Iron Maiden, from Deep Purple. Was an airline pilot for like 10 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took a break and flew airplanes for 20 years. So, anyways, I love Bruce's singing. I think he's one of the like greatest singers in rock, and it's just very recognizable, instantly recognizable. Just like, and really there is, and one of the things about him I really love is there really is no other singer for Iron Maiden music. I've actually done some Iron Maiden covers and everything, and I have to completely rework them. I can't do them in that style. I've got to.
Well, his voice is so distinct, you can't.
That's
both of them,
right? And then that with that sort of type of metal with that sort of like, I hate to use the word classical sort of influence, I think he is the go-to vocalist. Like I always thought, and I think it would be really fun that Yngwie should do a record with Bruce Dickinson. I think that would just be the shit, because those two guys both have that neoclassical thing going on, and I think it would be a neoclassical metal orgasm in your ear.
That would be an interesting show.
That would just be like just absolutely sick. So speaking of, go ahead, Keith.
But instead, Yngwie's doing rowing, so that's good to show you there. I seen that on Ripper's page there.
Oh, he is working with Ripper. I don't want to take anything away from Ripper, because I mean he stepped into that and he sounded good. He could sing that stuff well, but he was not Rob. Speaking of Bruce, let's go ahead and take a little listen of some of Bruce's greatest moments. he has great control over his vibrato. You know, I mean, it's not like all over the place. You know, he can really that end of Flight of Icarus. You know, where he hits that last note, and he just it's completely together. He's not going crazy with it. It's all exactly
Very controlled.
Yeah, very controlled. He knows he's got command over his instrument like nobody's freaking business. And it's, I think, for people like Keith and I especially, Lily, I mean, you don't play an instrument or you don't play in a band or anything, but Keith and I have worked with different singers, and when you hear singers like Rob Halford and Bruce Dickinson, it's just really exciting to hear guys that have that kind of command over their voice. You know what I'm talking about, Keith?
I mean, not as much as I would like to, yeah, but I have people that I've heard people that can sing really well. I mean, they're not in the echelon of metal singers like those guys, but I've worked with a couple female vocalists that can really sing, and they can definitely hit it where it needs to be, and it's been impressive to hear somebody, even when I'm whether regardless if I'm working with somebody or not. Once I hear somebody that can sing, to me, watching a band, doesn't matter what kind of music, I listen to the singer first. Probably people will be like, well, you should listen to the drummer first. Well, hey, man.
Speaking of the singer, that might be Rob Halford walking in right now.
You can just, to me, it just gives me, you get that goosebump thing when you hear a singer that can sing with great range of control and just, when they just own it, it's just, someone has a gift like that. I mean, it's kind of hard to not give it credit. So no matter, like I said, regardless of what kind of music it is, I really listen to the vocal first in a band, and that really kind of makes or breaks a band for me. I don't care. You got the best musicians in the world. If your singer is not good, I don't think that you can hang.
It's not going to work.
One of the things that, let's talk a little bit about these guys' careers. Because, they both had left and come back at different times. One of the things that I love about Rob Halford is, he was probably the guy that said you can be tough, you can be a badass, you can sing heavy metal, and you can be gay. It's like, fine.
And it works.
And he kind of like, I think there was a suspicion, just like I think there was a suspicion about Freddie Mercury, for many, many years, But, I mean, the way Rob played it and continues to play it and is just completely, comes off as just like, it's just, it ain't even a thing. You know what I mean?
He's just a badass.
And he went through that, because when that first came out, guys, like right now, everybody's like, right, isn't like, half the world is trans this and,
what have you,
gender neutral that, and, bi this and LGBT, and so it's kind of like
it's not even a thing.
Yeah, it's not even a thing. But we guys got to go in a place and time. Here's a heavy metal singer in the 80s, and it comes out that he is walking on the other side of the street, there's a lot of eyebrows raised, and there was a lot of people who were like kind of put off by that.
Yeah, a lot of people stopped listening to him because
I know,
of that.
But I think ultimately Rob showed that number one, he's got the goods. He's an amazing singer, that was never any kind of gimmick or anything. He's a great performer, and he's been able to. You guys remember when he did leave Judas Priest and did a band called Fight?
I was going to mention him because, we're talking about
that
ranges.
era.
He sang a lot of very different kind of ranges on that. He really experimented on that one with a lot of deeper kind of range. He also had his own in another band, Halford. We had that where I wasn't familiar with that, but I remember him taking the actual drummer, Scott Travis, with him, and they started the band Fight. And when I first heard that, I didn't really. I was taken aback by the fact that it was Rob Halford. I knew that he was the singer in the band, but I was like, sometimes on a couple of the tracks, I was like, is he letting somebody else sing on this one, or what's going on? But then he kicks into his Rob thing,
And like what I thought was so great about that was at that time, I mean, Judas Priest they were still out. They were still touring. They had Ripper Owens. They were doing their thing, but they were kind of a tribute act to Judas Priest at that time. Whereas Rob Halford was doing original music that was big on MTV, being played on 120 Minutes, being played on Headbangers Ball. I mean, he became current. You know, here's this quote-unquote older guy of metal who kind of reinvents himself with this sort of alt metal kind of sound, and he totally pulls it off. And I think that this just shows that, like, he has the freaking goods. He's the real deal. He's a real rock and roller. And you know what? He's a hell of a nice guy. If you ever seen him interviewed, just the most chilled, relaxed.
He's very like a real down-to-earth gentleman. He's an English gentleman. That's what he is. Let's call it that. He's done a lot of for AIDS research, a lot of for the gay community. He's always in the Phoenix Gay Parade. He's like first car cruising down the street, waving everybody. He does a lot for the gay community, and he always embraced that. And never, you know, when it did come out, he basically just never shy away from it. That's what he said for years in his lyrics, trying to like subliminally tell people, but it was, you know.
Well, the thing of it is that how much more metal can you get than like I'm gay?
The answer's
what
none
are you
more.
gonna do about it? You know, I'm still metal, whatever. You know,
He
whatever.
doesn't
Well, I mean,
he
it's hard
doesn't care.
That's as metal and as rock and roll as it
You
gets.
listen to like in the Dead at Night, Love of Fights. I don't know what he talked about as a kid, but then later on, you're like, hey, what does he talk about? I think I know.
Well, go ahead, Lily. I'm sorry. Keith and I were kind of like going
no,
off.
no, no.
What do you want? Chime in with something there. Jump in, girl.
You guys talked about the gay stuff. I was going to talk about that, but like you guys said, he doesn't care. He's a badass regardless. He is the metal god. That's kind of, oh yeah, there I am. That's kind of all that you really have to say about that section of it, which is the rest of what although no, I had more a little bit here.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to add a few things?
Yeah.
Good, jump
So
in.
also with the entire band, they kind of like, they're a little more diverse, I think, than Iron Maiden. Like they did like the heavy blues rock, progressive rock. They added synthesizers in the 80s. They did even a little bit of new metal. So that was one of my positives for the Rob Halford side.
Do you guys know that Lily and I were talking about, I don't know if you knew this, Keith, that Rob and Bruce did a song together?
Yeah, it's what the hell's the name of it?
It's called
Something
the one you love to hate.
The One You Love to Hate.
I'm gonna play a snippet. Let's check it out for a second. That's sick.
You think you want to know me? You think you want to own me? But I have nothing you can buy. I can break you. I can raise you. Bring you to your knees. 'Cause I'm the one you love to hate. You can fool
It's like called Jam.
You can rule me. You only one would hang around. 'Cause I'm the one you love to hate. So come on, get a load of this. Something you can't afford.
So that is the boys together.
Epic.
Both Rob and Bruce are rocking out together. Cool jam.
That's from
the one you love to
Halford
hate.
Solo thing, right?
Yeah, from the album
Okay.
Resurrection. And this is kind of a little funny thing about how nice of a guy Rob Halford really is. There was a little, not an argument, but I guess Bruce Dickinson was asked about, well, what do you think about these artists using, like Ozzy, using teleprompters? And he said that he walked on stage and saw that Rob Halford had a teleprompter with the words to Breaking the Law. And he was like, what the hell? It's like breaking the law. Breaking the law. Why the hell you need that? You know, he just thought it was ridiculous. And they asked Rob Halford what he thought about it. He's like, hey, he says, Bruce and I are friends. He says, I play in a lot of different bands. He says, I just need that. And he just totally acted like he never didn't cop an attitude or didn't get mad at Bruce. He was just like, nah, I'm sorry,
whatever.
it's just me. I need that. Again, just total comfortability in his own skin. And I think that's something I think that we kind of all admire. Don't you admire when you meet somebody like that? It's like they're totally comfortable.
They're
in their
totally
own-
cool.
And they put you at ease too. So Keith, I know you got more to say. Go ahead, buddy.
No, that's a good point. I mean, seem to tell you a person that had anything bad to say about anybody. Like I said, I don't know the man personally, but he always seems like a very down to earth, gracious dude. So yeah, that's one thing about Halford you can say. So, I don't know if we're going to get into like next topic or anything where it's like you're looking at different just aspects of their careers. I think it's funny sometimes because I love both those bands, but if you look at it, I think Iron Maiden has sold almost twice as many albums as Judas Priest if you look at it.
I think you're right.
Have they? I was not aware of that. Okay.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you take songs like Living After Midnight, You Got Another Thing Coming, those are radio hits. Classic radio plays the crap out of those. And Iron Maiden has done a ton with their career, selling almost 100 million albums with very little support. I mean, they were getting a lot of videos on Headbangers Ball, but they weren't in like great rotation,
Yeah.
So it's like, it's impressive. Both sold a ton of albums, and it's impressive. But that commercially speaking, it's funny that Priest hasn't sold more than they have because they had those two songs were very commercially successful songs for them. So it's kind of weird to see them just not hitting that the 100 million mark. But
I mean, when I think of Judas, when I think about it, I remember this is funny that you say that because growing up as a kid, I heard way more Judas Priest on local rock radio than I did Iron Maiden. So that's kind of interesting.
I didn't even start listening to Maiden until I was married. So
Married to Maiden.
Oh, now I'm divorced. What's that? No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's those bands have to, when they kind of get away from their roots, we'll say, their sound, and they kind of branch out a little bit, they don't do as well. Remember, like when Judas Priest brought out the Turbo album?
Yeah.
It just didn't really. I mean, I'm listening to that, and then like ram it down, and it was a string album for Priest that was very kind of synthy, and that wasn't as metal, I guess we'll say, as their previous stuff. And it was the same with Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden on the string albums too, where I can't even name one song off. Maybe it was the Blaze Bayley era from like 94 to 99, even in the early 2000s. It's hard to fuck with the Joneses when musical landscapes always change, and these bands try to keep up with them maybe by experimenting and doing different things. But when they do their best and they sell the most albums and get their fan base happy, I think is when they stick to what they know. I understand the bands branch out, but it's both those bands have had some string albums too that weren't so happening, regardless of who would have sang on them.
Well, I think. Sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think bands like these two bands need to stick to what they know, need to stick to what they're good at, and not sort of like go everywhere with it just because it's the kind of fan base that wants to hear sort of the same sound over and over again. And
yeah,
I mean, that sucks, but they can do it. These are two bands that can do that.
We're gonna take a break in a few minutes and play a band. But before we do that, why don't Lily? Do you have some comments you want to read from fans?
Oh, yes, I can do that.
Lily is
Hopefully
our
they came up.
comment girl. So
all right. From Jim Horosky, he says, "Complete showman." That's in reference to Bruce. Jerry Johnson, "No Way the Trooper all day long, hands down." Bruce Dickinson, yes, the Bruce Dickinson from Jason Pinkney. Chris Thunderwolf, both of them have the same vocal octave range, which I
was not aware of that, but okay,
cool, good to know. And RJ Diamond, "Hey, Dickinson flies Ed Force One. End of story. The guy kicks ass." Also, RJ Dickinson also fronted Samson and had a killer solo career. Loved Love Accident at Birth as well as Balls to Picasso. And Billy Mank says, "Lost ya." So he lost us for a minute.
Okay,
but that's all I have because
we had from our post this week. We had D Schultz or D Scholes, sorry, Jim Horosky. Jim's all over this. Cody Newkirk, Jason Pinkney, Brian Jetter, Tom Proctor, R.J. Diamond. So guys, thanks so much. We love it when you guys participate. We're gonna promote a band right now, a great metal band. They're actually from Pittsburgh. They're a band called Reign of Z.
Female fronted.
Yeah, female fronted. This is a track called Whispers in the Walls. If you guys need to take a break, you need to go grab a smoke. We need to do anything. This is check out the band, but if you need to be doing something else, you can't sit right in front of the computer. Just crank this up while you run to take a
While you
squirt
go
or whatever
pee.
you're doing. And we're going to crank this up. Whispers in the Walls, Reign of Z on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus.
Now you don't want this
That's Reign of Z, Pittsburgh's own Reign of Z, on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. I'll give these guys a little bit of a something here. You can go to the website. The website is reignofz.com. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. Are they doing something? You said, you're playing Reign of Z, and are they doing something coming up?
They have a lot of stuff coming up. I don't have anything narrowed down right now,
thought
but
maybe you had something
nothing specific.
You wanted to talk about. Real quick, I want to kind of like hit a few highlights here of these two gentlemen. Bruce Dickinson, perhaps this is great. This is from allmusic.com. Perhaps second only to Rob Halford, Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson was the most acclaimed and instantly recognizable vocalist who emerged from the new wave of British metal movement of the early 80s. I mean, like, we are talking about it, and I didn't even realize this when I pulled this up. He was born in 1958 in Workshop,
Nottinghamshire.
Nottinghamshire. Hey, check this out. He was in a band called Styx, but not the Styx. Not Styx. Not Styx, but he was a band called Styx.
Mr.
He didn't. No, he did not sing Mr. Roboto. But he was in a band called Samson. And it's in a movie. I can't remember what movie it's in, but they go into a bar, and Samson's playing, and it's Bruce Dickinson singing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were named after the guitarist Paul Samson. The band issued a pair of albums with Dickinson singing, and then we move on to almost immediately after his exit from Samson, Iron Maiden singer Paul, how do you say his name, Diano? Left the band despite being in the midst of a meteoric rise to stardom. Tryout was arranged with Dickinson and was named Iron Maiden's new vocalist in 1981. Several months after joining the group, Maiden released The Number of the Beast, and sort of like the rest is freaking history.
Metal history.
I mean, that's just it. There have been few vocalists in the history of heavy metal whose singing style has been as influential and instantly recognizable as the man himself.
Look at that outfit.
Rob Halford, including all the leather and studs. Born on August 25th, 1951. So he's what, a smidge older?
4 years older.
A few older, couple
or
years older
7
than,
years, something like that.
Our boy Bruce. In Birmingham, England, something about England, has something in the water over there. Began singing as a teenager, fronting a local band called Hiroshima, and working as a theatrical lighting engineer.
Oh.
But a freak occurrence landed Halford the frontman spot in an up-and-coming rock band out of Birmingham called Judas Priest in 1973. A lot of people forget that Priest has been around since the freaking early 70s.
Yep.
And their sound has really evolved. They've gone, and sometimes it sucked, and sometimes it's been cool. And they are out of all the that sort of era of metal bands. That's sort of what they call the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yep. New wave of British heavy metal.
They're kind of like the most diverse, or the most sort of experimental. You know, they've gone into the most territories. But you know, so he gets in Priest real early. Halford's sister was dating Priest bassist Ian Hill. And the one day a few members were over at Halford's house when they overheard Halford singing along to the radio. Priest had just lost their singer, so tryout was set up. Halford was promptly accepted into Priest, joining Hill, the twin guitar team of KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, and I'm so not freaking worthy, I can't even say the words, and a revolving door of drummers. And that's another thing. We could do a compare and contrast between Iron Maiden and Priest. Is both have this killer dual guitar teams. And we could maybe do a podcast on great dual guitar teams in hard rock and metal at some other point. But so again and again, so the sound, the Priest sound shifted more towards a metallic sound. By '74, their first album was issued on a small label. Although the debut was an unfocused affair with quickly sank from sight, each successive release, Priest focused their sound and songwriting, leading to a string of certifiable metal classics that broadened their worldwide fan base. People forget that these guys started so early and they've done so many different kinds of music, and it took a while, to kind of catch. They didn't and Iron Maiden the same way, right, Keith? Iron Maiden doesn't sort of emerge full form. They've got to find Bruce Dickinson and kind of find their voice And so the two things that are about things that both these singers have in common that are just really interesting. So I have plathered on enough about that. Somebody else talk.
Sorry. What word was that?
Who would like to speak next?
Good, Lily.
Go ahead. I don't know if I have much else to say about this.
Jesus Christ, Lily.
Christ.
Oh,
What?
sweet Lily.
Let's not bring him into this.
Ah, sweet Lily. You've got to say something.
I can say who I chose.
Okay, do we want to go there?
Do we want to go that?
Do we want to say who our hearts are with?
Let's do that. We teased long enough.
We've kept on long enough. Okay, so we've teased long enough.
It's time
So we'll go around the room.
I never tease long enough, but anyway.
So we'll go around the room. We'll start with Lily. Well, then Keith, and then me. So who's your pick?
My pick, even though it was very difficult for me to pick between the two, and I had to go off of different things other than the singer itself, is going to be Bruce Dickinson, because I just prefer Iron Maiden a hair better than Judas Priest.
Sea hair?
Yes.
A red sea hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Better than Judas Priest, because the song... Go ahead.
Why's it got to be red?
Who knows?
He said,
I don't know.
finish up.
They both have fantastic voices. The songs are all great. I just like Iron Maiden songs a little better because of kind of like the stories they tell, and that's just real. Oh, and the way that Bruce connects with the audience, like Keith said earlier, I just like it better. And I drive really, really fast whenever I hear Iron Maiden, and I know that's awful, but it just gets me going. It's awesome.
All right. So, Hockenheimer, what do you got, buddy?
Well, I hate to say this, but for first time in a long time, I'm in complete agreement with these six there. We'll say that this is a rare occurrence, but I think for me, they're both amazing vocalists. As soon as I hear both their voices, I know instantly who it is, whatever project they're in. Both amazing live. They both have a little bit of a different thing going on. Like I said, Bruce is pretty much all over the stage and does things, asking, having, the crowd just really into it. Rob brings out more of the motorcycle and the leather, but they're different, but they're both great, which is okay. That works. I think at the end of the day, that's a tough one too, but I'm going to go with Dickinson just due to the fact that I do like Iron Maiden's music just a little bit more than Priest. I think Priest got away from what they did for a while, and when they tried to bring it back, it was like a little too dated. And I'm not sure even like some of the later Iron Maiden stuff. I'm not a huge fan of, but when it comes to the legendary sound of both, I think I just prefer music a little bit more, and the songs I think are a little bit more interesting in Iron Maiden with the stories and things like that. It's definitely a tough one. That's hard to pick two legendary performers like that, but maybe I'm shying away from the vocal part of it. They're both great, but for me, it's Bruce Dickinson.
Like that,
that much,
right?
That much.
Yeah.
That much.
All right.
I know.
I am, and I will admit I'm the odd man out. I love Bruce Dickinson. Like, as a singer myself, I'm so not freaking worthy. However, I have to pick Rob Halford. I think that because of the diversity of the career that he's had between Halford, Fight, and Judas Priest, he's shown that he can do music that sounds very current and be totally relevant. Despite, he can kind of in my opinion, he's surpassed Judas Priest. Also, I like the fact that he is a little less controlled than Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson is the singer. I mean, he's got it his ultra, controlled. Halford sounds like he could go off the rails at any minute. Like, is he? Where's that note going? Oh, but he nails it. But he creates that moment of tension where he's got that element of chaos.
You like that?
And I freaking love that. I love like all that he's been through. How he was kind of like knocked down and he kind of came back. Like, Fight actually was like a way more relevant band than Judas Priest was at that time.
That's true.
And both those albums they did. If you have not listened to them, go get them. You can listen to them on Spotify. I promise you will have chills. It's absolutely amazing. And he does all his great stuff from the high stuff to the low stuff. Absolutely freaking amazing. So that's why I have to pick Halford. And on top of that, he has way better haircut than Bruce Dickinson.
I told you the fashion's not so good in the
and way better facial hair. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So,
There was a lot of there where Bruce Dickinson rocked the mullet like nobody's business, man. That shit was
Iron Maiden has
long.
no fashion sense. Bruce has no fashion sense. It's okay.
It's all party in the back, man.
You know what? He doesn't need to have fashion. He's a great singer.
well, I mean, and that's fine. I mean, the last comment was bit tongue in cheek because if you guys aren't watching and just listening, I have shaved head and I have the similar Rob Halford facial hair.
Looks good.
So that was kind of a bit of a joke. But no, we've got 2 for Dickinson, 1 for Halford. Dickinson comes out on top in this round here, and that is not a bad thing because I love him as well. I just again, like you guys said, just like
it was
a
like
red
this.
sea hair. More. That's the difference. It's the red sea hair.
It was so hard for me to pick which one to choose tonight, and I just had to go because I had to go with different factors other than their singing to pick.
And there's a lot of factors. I mean, rock is we're gonna do a podcast on these like elder statesmen of rock still going out and performing, and is that cool or what do you guys think about that? We're gonna do a show on that, but. There is an aspect of rock, and it has been in rock since the beginning, since Elvis was Elvis Pelvis, where the visual aspect of it is part of it.
It's important.
It's absolutely part of it. It's not the most important part necessarily, but it is part of it.
It helps.
So, so that is something to consider as well. But I would never diss Bruce Dickinson over his fashion sense or anything like that because he's such an amazing talent.
He doesn't need it.
It's sick. It's just unbelievable. So we've got 2 against 1. Bruce Dickinson.
You ever see him use a sword, man? He'll carve your ass up too, man. He hears you saying that about him.
I love him.
I'd like to see him use a sword.
He'll do your next haircut nice and tight for you.
Richard Darr.
I want to just say, Rich Darr is watching, and
Bruce.
Mickey Hernandez says, I love them both, but Painkiller is on a whole different level. Thank you, Mickey Hernandez, for chiming in. Mickey has a great band as well. And I'm going to go ahead and give those guys just a wee bit of a shout out. Just a wee bit. All of a sudden, I'm Irish. Dark Entries. So check those guys out as well. Google them. And friend Mickey on Facebook or social media. He's a friendly guy. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm Irish.
Why are you doing voices all of a sudden?
All of a sudden I'm doing voices. I'm Irish. This is the pot at the end of the rainbow here. I'm smoking the pot at the end of the rainbow. So
now I want you to dress up like a leprechaun.
That is going to be my Halloween costume this year. I'm going to be
sweet.
That would be awesome.
Right? like from the movie, the scary movie Leprechaun. Do that one. I know it's not scary, but the horror movie Leprechaun.
Leprechaun 2 is considered the worst movie of all time.
Is it really?
That like Plan 9. It's up there with like Plan 9 from Outer Space and all those.
Nice.
And Jennifer Aniston's in it.
I knew that. It was before the nose job, right? I'm pretty sure it was before the nose job. Yeah. See, I do see movies, just not often.
Well, here's the thing. Jennifer Aniston's a beautiful woman.
Oh, she is.
Why she thought she needed a nose job?
It was probably like her freaking manager telling her to do it or something. That's how that works anymore.
I mean, wait a minute. Jennifer Grey ruined her career
because of a nose job.
But I could understand why in her mind she may have thought she needed it because she did have a kind of
It was-
distinctive kind of nose.
But she
Let's
was
put it that
so
way.
cute.
But so does Sarah Jessica Parker.
Truth.
You know what I mean?
And her
so,
career's
like,
just fine.
Yeah, her career was just fine for a long time. So why Jennifer and why Joan Jett no longer looks like... That's a whole podcast.
That is a whole podcast.
She does not look like... I'm like... that person sounds like Joan Jett.
That's my woman.
But it's a totally different face.
I love her.
It's like Face Off. It's like the movie Face Off with Joan Jett.
Oh, God.
Joan, I love you. You're like one of my heroes, but what are you doing with your face? Oh, you people and your... Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm just going to let everything fall where it may.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Who's hanging out with us? Michael A. Morgan.
What's Jimmy say?
And we got Jimmy.
Jim.
Jimmy, nobody puts baby in the corner.
This is true.
Mickey Hernandez says Hawk for president.
I'd vote for you.
I could probably do a better job than this on it right now. That's for sure.
All right, guys. Anything else we want to add before we rock the hell on out of here for tonight?
I'll plug my show real quick.
Plug your show.
All right.
Plug.
My show, Hot Licks with Lily Six, Rock Rage Radio. There he goes. Oh my God. I need to change that name. You can either download the app on your phone if you have a smartphone, or you can go to the website, rockrageradio.com, Thursdays at 6.
I have a dumb phone. I can't get this all really.
My phone's pretty dumb, so
I have a dumb phone.
I hate you.
Rock Rage Radio, Lily Hot Licks.
Hot
Lily
Licks.
6. Keith, what's going on, buddy? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to plug? Anything you like going on? Anything you want to talk about? Have you seen any cool movies? Anything like that before we rock and roll on out of here?
Well, I got some sad news. Next week, you guys will be without me. You have to do it on your own. I will be across the pond, as they would say in Scotland, and I'd have to give up 4 a.m. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, that really doesn't
Well,
work.
you know that Lily can't do Monday. When are you going to be gone all week?
Yeah, I'll be going the 21st to the.
Okay. All right, no problem. So
Yeah.
so Lily and I will do, I guess, like we'll do what? You want to do Wednesday again next week?
I can't do Wednesday.
What night can you do?
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay. We will figure out a date, and Lily and I will come on and do something for you guys, entertaining.
I'll tap dance.
Yes, there we are. Oh, I'll dance.
It's more like a giraffe tap dancing when I try to do it, but
What are you talking about? Giraffes do not tap dance.
they could.
That's crazy.
You don't
talk.
even know. You don't. Do you know what they do at night?
Oh, yes, I do know.
I bet you don't.
All right, guys. You've been hanging out with the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. Go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com and check out all the cool stuff we got going on there. There's new podcasts going up every week. Tons of them now. We're doing a lot more. So check that out. You got any thoughts, any ideas, any things you'd like us to talk about, suggestions, let us know. And pick yourself up a little bit of merchandise there as well at LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. If you'd like a little behind-the-scenes stuff, I've been doing these cool like mini podcasts where I take a theme. I do Bluesy Tuesdays, a Wicked Riff Wednesdays. We'll be doing Shredder Saturdays soon.
Ooh.
You can find out all about that, and you can like hang out with me while I cut the videos and give your input and everything. You can be part of my audience. And you can, if you want like all this stuff, you want exclusive music, exclusive videos, go to LouLombardiMusic.com/Inner Circle. That is LouLombardiMusic.com/Inner Circle. And you can get all that there. And that's pretty much it, guys. Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson takes it this round. And hey, I can't be sad about that because I'm a Bruce fan as much as I am, in many ways as a Rob Halford fan. So it was all good. It was a lot of fun tonight. Thanks all our live viewers for tonight for hanging out with us. And please share the podcast. When you share the podcast, I'll be very honest with you, it makes it a lot harder for Facebook to block it. So the more it's shared around, the more it gets around.
Just a click, guys.
Yeah. And this is a way you guys can help keep this great, amazing music alive is just by sharing these podcasts. So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com is a website, and we'll catch you guys all on the next Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus and Loudini Rock and Roll Circus podcast. Until then, keep rocking hard, guys. We're going to rock out with Halford and Dickinson together, The One You Love to Hate, on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus.